Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Profile Show on Throttle and Rust. I'm your host, Brian Sperber, and today we have a very special edition. My buddy Graig Hoffman, the executive director at the historic North Wilkesboro Speedway, is joining us. Talk a little racing, a little history, and have some fun. Greg, thanks for joining.
Brian, thank you so much for having me. This is fun. We go back and have many similarities and our friendship throughout the years. So, looking forward to the conversation.
Excellent. Well, we're going to talk all about the Window World 450, which is coming up this summer. I cannot wait. But before we do, I wanted to get into a little bit about your background. You're not a Johnny come lately to racing, and you've got a tremendous history in helping to guide the sport. So, kind of take us back to the early days of your career, and
The
how
early
did you get
days.
into this
So,
crazy world of racing?
yes. So the late '90s and the NASCAR boom, and I was playing football at University of Louisville and trying to play some professional football and seeing where that could take me. At the same time, I had met Jeff Bird, the president general manager of Bristol, um, in 1998,
He
and
was a real legend in the sport. That's a great
certainly a
fighter.
mentor. I mean, when you look at Winston's involvement in the sport in the 70s and 80s, Jay Bird was at the forefront, and T Wayne and him were best friends. So really spearheading a lot of that Winston activation under Ralph Seagraves back in the day. Jay Bird, after that career at Winston, Bruton uh, handpicked him to lead Bristol when Speedway Motorsports purchased that facility, and he took me in and was a father figure and a mentor to me, and was so thankful for my time that I was able to learn from him in my career in Bristol. So late '90s, and all those moments there, and the 55 race sellout streak on the racing side, and then all the fun stuff we've done at Bristol over the years, from the football game, Tennessee and Virginia Tech in 2016, setting the record for a football game with almost 170,000 people in attendance. Baseball game that we did last summer, and then of course, the bread and butter on the racing side. So, seen a lot of good things and have learned a lot of great lessons. Have been at Bristol and with Speedway Motorsports for 28 years now. And then helping on this Wilkesboro restoration and project for the last 5 years, as that's come on board from an abandoned facility of 27 years to hosting racing in 2022, three all-star races, and then as you led off with, the first points race in 30 years, the Window World 450, July 19th, just 30 days away from today.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And yeah, you touched on kind of bringing back North Wilkesboro, and of course that track had just tremendous history around motorsports. And I guess as far as the public, we saw the racetrack revival start to take shape in 2022. But I suspect there was a lot of legwork that went into that before it became a public racing event.
There were. So just to paint the picture, North Wilkesboro Speedway is the oldest track in NASCAR. So when you look at the formation of NASCAR, Wilkesboro opened in 1947. So it predates NASCAR by a few years. And as Bill France and several others were looking around the Southeast trying to standardize and formalize stock car racing, North Wilkesboro Speedway and Enoch Staley were at the forefront of that. So NASCAR formalized in 48. First NASCAR season was 1949. North Wilkesboro was on that very first NASCAR schedule as the last race of 8 races. And North Wilkesboro and Martinsville are the only two tracks that exist from that original schedule. So when you think about it, you were racing on the beach at Daytona and the Charlotte Fairgrounds and some other, facilities that don't exist. So Martinsville and Wilkesboro are the only tracks remaining from that original schedule. So, at the forefront of that. And when you think of why North Wilkesboro, the forefront of that moonshine culture and history that that are the roots of this sport of NASCAR and stock car racing. Right here in Wilkes County is ground zero. and looking at where to build racetracks. There was a partnership between four individuals on the property and the management of the racetrack, and it started as a dirt track, and just they graded the speedway as it was and as it laid, and that's the historic downhill front stretch, uphill back stretch that's the characteristic of North Wilkesboro Speedway. So fast forward from the roots in 47 and 49 to having two NASCAR points races throughout all those years, all the way through the 90s, and the boom of NASCAR. And in 1996, the Tyson Holly Farms 400 was the last race in 96. And, unfortunately, decisions were made and dates went elsewhere, and the track sat dormant for 27 years. There was some effort and some racing back in 2010, kind of that got, call it the modernization of the racing in North Wilkesboro, but that fell off and, again, sat abandoned. Lots of ideas and hopes and dreams of trying to get the track back, but really through a lot of miracles and just situations that all alone are miracles. And you think, you had groundswell of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And iRacing and wanting to just scan and preserve the track. So, he and Marcus had several conversations, and there was an effort to come in and just clean up the track. It was the weeds and the vines and the trees that were here to just clean up the track to make it scannable for iRacing, to preserve it digitally. Throughout that process, unfortunately, COVID came and the sport was put on pause. And there was this North Wilkesboro Speedway virtual track that was featured on one of those Fox broadcasts. So the drivers in the sport, to satisfy their broadcast windows, they were racing virtually on iRacing instead of being at the track. And one of those broadcasts was a North Wilkesboro race where the NASCAR drivers drove the track virtually through iRacing, and that was aired on Fox, and really started a groundswell of interest and support. And coming out of COVID, the state government and COVID relief funds were established to offset some of the impact of tourism and everything that came through COVID. So a positive of that was this money that went towards restoration of the track. So you're painting that picture in 2020, 2021. We had something that we could look for a future. And then we partnered with a promoter and ran racing in 2022. And that was, again, at the old facility before we restored it. We cleaned up, made it safe, opened up the doors. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the Cars Tour ran there, and it was such a special night. Place was packed, under the lights, just really created the atmosphere and let everybody know and reaffirm how special North Wilkesboro Speedway was. And so that was the catalyst of that. So then those COVID relief funds and the state money hit for the restoration, and Marcus Smith and NASCAR and several others. Again, by chance, it was NASCAR's 75th anniversary in 2023. And what better way to pay homage to the roots and the history of the sport than to take the All-Star race to North Wilkesboro Speedway. And so that was 2023. Those tickets went on sale and sold out in just a few days. One of the hottest tickets in NASCAR. Great event again. Fantastic support from the fans and the community. And we did that All-Star race for 3 years. So in 23, 24, 25, again, more groundswell support, more let's take a points race to North Wilkesboro. And again, as we said earlier, first points race in 30 years will be the Window World 450 on July 19th.
Well, and the track has just produced, it's delivered obviously on the history, but the on-track action is delivered for the fans too. I think that last All-Star race, I was just checking my notes here, it's like 18 lead changes among 8 drivers. Are you
It
kidding me?
was
That's incredible.
it was incredible. So in 23, we raced on that old track surface that was done in, I believe, 1981. And, it produced great racing. It was hard on the tires because it was so abrasive, but with all the cracks and the crack fill on that, it needed to be replaced. So we wanted to pay homage again to the history and run on that old surface. But then in 24 and 5, we were on a new surface. So now what I'm excited about, and I've talked to Steve Swift from our team, and he feels very strong about this as well. This track surface now will be, going on 3 years, so it's aged. Um, Hot July night, we'll have almost double the amount of cars that we did for the All-Star race and basically double the amount of laps. So the racing will be phenomenal. Last All-Star race, as you alluded to, it was some of the best racing I've seen. We get the race started and I watch about 10 laps or so to just get a feel for everything. And then I go make my rounds. But I was glued to the edge of my seat, and Logano and Keselowski were side by side. It was more than 30 laps, and I was just compelled by the racing. And then again, the finish and Christopher Bell taking that win on that last All-Star race was just phenomenal racing. So all those factors coming together will be a fantastic night in July, on July 19th, for the Winter World 450.
Oh my gosh, man, I can't wait. So, yeah, the whole race weekend, July 17th through 19th, we're going to get things rocking and rolling on Friday night with the Z-Max Cars tour. And then Saturday, the trucks with the Faith Fest 250, I think,
Correct.
presented by Mercer Transportation. And then the Buckle Up for the Window World 450. Points paying cup race. It doesn't get any better than that. So,
I'm
really,
so
really
excited.
excited.
I've got chills and goosebumps just thinking about it. But you had said we'll kick things off Friday, so there are some big news coming on that Friday. So stay tuned for that. That will be a fantastic night. It's a double header. Um, so we'll have both Cars Tour Series Pro late model and late model stock. Um, Again, drivers in both series that will be announced. So big news coming. So stay tuned. And then, as you alluded to, the trucks they put on such a great show here. Truck race, Faith Fest 250, presented by Mercer Transportation, will put on a great show. And then we'll have cup practice and qualifying to kind of cap off the afternoon and evening. We are going to bring back the Fan Fest in the Boroughs event, downtown Wilkesboro and North Wilkesboro. So we'll have our Trackside Live event. Kenny Wallace and that crew, driver appearances will be on that stage for that show. So bringing back that old school Trackside Live like we do at our other tracks there. With again, driver appearances and a Tim Duggar concert to cap that night off. So fans will be able to have fun at the track and then get out into both Wilkesboro and North Wilkesboro to experience what those towns both have to offer.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, Greg, you and your staff do just such an incredible job of delivering entertainment for the fans and taking care of everybody. And I was just looking as we were getting ready to sit down to talk today, just kind of what's in store. And I mean, you've got Sawyer Brown with Raymer Oil coming to entertain the fans. And I was looking at the 50 singles that they've charted on the country charts, 3 number 1 hits over a 40-year career. Everybody knows their songs. It's going to be awesome to get things rolling. And then Rusty Wallace, I saw, is going to be the Grand Marshal. So, like, how do you beat that combination?
Oh, it's we have one shot to lean in on this 30 years since the last points race, and we have made, we've got a huge team behind the scenes that we have, weekly meetings and calls and brainstorms, and really, what can we do to make this special? We have one shot at this that's 30 years since 1996, and let's lean in, let's look at music artists and who can we pick, and Sawyer Brown came to the forefront. And again, there's a catalog of hits, so they'll put on a great show. It'll be the first time we've had a true pre-race concert inside the venue on the racetrack, for fans to come and see and take in that, before the Window World 450. And then Rusty, we've paid tribute to a lot of legends here at North Wilkesboro these last 4 and 5 years. Jeff Gordon, and being the last race winner in '96, and Rusty is a legend. 3 race wins here. His relationship with Ford, our official vehicle, and Penske, and just he came to the forefront on who we wanted to honor as the Grand Marshal for that race. And with Window World's blessing, he's named the Grand Marshal, and he will give the command to fire engines for the Window World 450.
Man, it's going to be awesome. And you touched on there's just so much community support here in the region, and you've got great sponsors like Raymer Oil and Window World that have their headquarters here. And I know the fans are really excited, and I'm getting fired up just talking about it. And there's so many awesome ways that you and your team have made available to fans to be able to come and experience North Wilkesboro. Talk a little bit about the 47 Reserve Club, sort of the higher end offerings. A lot of people probably don't know that you've got these different types of experiences at the track, and tell them a little bit about it, because I thought
Yeah, I was gonna, when you led off there, my brain went right there and you led me to it. But the 47 Reserve, again, opening in 1947, and the roots and the legacy there. Um, we had a building that was really essentially just a metal warehouse operations barn that we have renovated. Uh, with Barnwood, we've had a local partnership with Retail Solutions Group, provided this barnwood, and it's a really cool look that pays homage and tribute to the roots of this racetrack and the sport. And we'll have a lot of historic photos from 1947 in there. Matter of fact, probably any minute after this call, Mike Staley is going to come walking in here. Enoch's son, he's got a stack of photos from 1947 that we're going to go through as well. And so that'll decorate the walls in there. But it's an air conditioned space now. So on a hot July day, so the concept is it's a table of 8. So you buy in a group of 8, and you get front stretch grandstand tickets. You get access to that 47 Reserve building, air conditioned space, a nice barbecue, pulled pork chicken meal. We'll have Rusty in there making appearances, and other legends and drivers as we get them finalized will make appearances. And these just came in yesterday, a nice limited edition 1947 Reserve hat. So those will be sitting at every place setting at that table of 8 as guests arrive. So again, then you'll be able to go down onto the racetrack for the Sawyer Brown concert, for the driver intros that'll be so special here at North Wilkesboro. And then you'll be able to come and go from that 47 Reserve building, from the grandstand to that building. We've got 72-inch TVs around the building if you want to sit in a little bit of air-conditioned comfort, cool off, get a snack and a beverage, go back to your grandstand seat. So it is a great new offering here. And again, I love that through all that, we're still paying homage to the history and the roots of this racetrack.
Yeah, I love it, Greg. It's so cool, and you guys also have the ultimate fan pass that gives fans more access. Talk a little bit about that and how they can get.
Yeah, we have limited spots in that available. So the blessing and the curse of North Wilkesboro is old school, and we don't have a tunnel, we don't have a bridge, so that's the question that every racetrack gets from fans is, how do I get a pit pass? Well, we've got this ultimate fan pass. So there is a section on Victory Lane that we set up lounge furniture and some coolers with beverages. So with that, you get a hot pass. So you can go, through the garage. You get access to that exclusive viewing area, so you get an elevated perspective of the racing. So you're not just down in the infield looking at ground level. And then you get a really close view of Victory Lane and the celebration there as well. So Ultimate Fan Pass has been a great experience at North Wilkesboro Speedway. So again, limited availability there, but it's a great experience for that hot pass that everybody's looking for.
That sounds incredible. And then you guys are also have a program for college students. So yeah, those that are on break this summer and looking for something fun to do, this could be right up their alley.
We do. I mean, a lot of colleges and universities in the region, and special discount pricing for college students. Your App State students, your Wake Forest and your NC States, and every university in between. But it's a great environment again with all this going on to
Mhm.
come in and have a good time at North Wilkesboro Speedway for all ages. It's just going to be an incredible race weekend.
It sure is. And you got me all fired up. And so, if anybody wants to come be a part of this, what's the best way for them to get tickets and find out more information?
So you can go to our website, is the clearinghouse for all information and all ticket options that are still available. So I will say there's two ways. That website, northwilkesborospeedway.com, and if you are local to the Wilkes County area, our Raymer Oil partnership, and of course their IGA Fair Value Marketplace stores. You can go into those stores and buy a race ticket to the Window World 450, and really even Friday and Saturday's races for that matter. You can buy it in store, get a voucher, redeem that online. The good thing about that is it is your lowest price option. It is a $70 ticket, and you can get that and enjoy the races at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Again, people that want to have a tangible ticket and buy that in person and get that locally, we do that for our partnership with Raymer Oil, but then also for our race fans throughout all of Wilkes County.
Wow, that's just amazing. And you got to get to North Wilkesboro Speedway that July 17 through the 19 race weekend. It's not to be missed. Graig, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it. And we are looking forward to going racing with you in just a few weeks.
Brian, thank you so much. Appreciate your friendship over the years, your mentorship, and just could not thank you enough for our relationship over the years, and again specifically today for this opportunity to talk about what I love coming up here at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's do it.
Great.